Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. It's Jamar back from Vegas Sense. And in this video, man, I'm gonna go ahead and give you what I think is, so far anyway, the closest clone to Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité that I really don't see anybody here on YouTube talking about. All right. So definitely, if you're brand new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a like and a comment below, and let's get straight into the video, man. So this particular fragrance, I saw this fragrance probably about a month or maybe even longer ago than that. And I didn't really know too much about this particular brand or line because I had never heard of it and I didn't really see anything on YouTube about it. So this brand goes by the name of Flavia, all right? And this particular fragrance is L'Impression Parfum, all right? And this Flavia brand is actually from Sterling Perfumes, which is, I believe that's the company that actually owns or makes Armaf fragrances, all right? So as you know, man, Armaf has really been, kind of knocking it out the park lately with their releases. They don't release as much fragrances or as often as some of the other houses like Fragrance World or Paris Corner or Lattafa. But whenever they do release stuff, at least probably for like at least the last maybe 3 years or so now, they've been releasing some really good quality stuff. So once I saw that this was actually made by Sterling Perfumes, that's more so what made me kind of check this one out. All right. So again, this is L'Impression Parfum. All right. So this is what the presentation looks like here. You got the name and the size of the bottle on the front, the Flavia logo up top, and you've got Sterling Parfums and the Flavia logo on the back. All right, and then like the manufacturer date and everything on the bottom. All right. And then obviously the little can or box, whatever you want to call this thing, this looks a lot like, the Louis Vuitton box. And then that just kind of comes up like that. Fragrance sits in there. And pretty much this is the same type of bottle that the, the Emperor Perfumes Intimation. This basically looks like it's the exact same bottle. The cap is not magnetic like how it is on the Jean Lo Immortal. But yeah, this looks like it's probably about the same size as the Intimation. I do still have that fragrance. I just didn't grab it for this video. But what we want to know, obviously, is how close in smell these are, or how close in smell this one actually is to the original Louis Vuitton. So I still have my little sample here of L'Immensité, and we're going to see just how close these are. Now, I've sprayed these on my arm here just right before I did the video. And I mean, I literally just got this fragrance in not even 30 minutes ago. So these are truly first impressions here. I'm going to go ahead and spray this on my right arm or my right hand. And I'm going to spray L'Immensité on my left. We're just going to kind of get impression of the opening of these two fragrances. So I'm going to start with the Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton, right off the top, you get just a really sort of crisp grapefruit and bergamot. And then the ginger starts to work its way into the top as well. And I would say that I'm getting pretty much the same type of vibe from the L'Impression by Flavia. The Flavia, though, is, I would say, in my opinion, it's just slightly more sweeter. Yeah, the grapefruit in this just smells a little bit more sweeter, a little bit more ripe. This doesn't smell, and I mean, really, I guess you could say in both of these, the grapefruit doesn't really smell like a super sort of tart grapefruit. Both of these do kind of come off as being like a sweet sort of grapefruit. But I will say that the Flavia, in my opinion, is coming off as being a little bit more sweeter. And also, when comparing the Flavia and the Louis Vuitton to the Jean Lo Immortal, the one thing that I can say is with the Jean Lo Immortal, this one definitely had more of an emphasis on kind of like that, you know, gingery sort of spice. I'm getting the same sort of watery balminess that I get from the Louis Vuitton. I'm also getting that from the L'Impression. Now, I would say that that sort of watery kind of balminess that you're getting from the Louis Vuitton, it does smell slightly more high quality than what the Flavia does. I would say it is a little bit more it's a little bit more intense of a smell coming from the Louis Vuitton when it comes to like sort of like that watery sort of balminess. And I think that watery kind of balminess comes from the combination of the watery notes that are in this fragrance, which kind of gives it like a sort of aquatic, watery type of feel, almost tea-like, mixed with like the sage and the rosemary. Those two notes together, they kind of give this fragrance like a herbal, I would say almost slightly sort of medicinal type of feel to it. But definitely these two, the Flavia and the Louis Vuitton, are much closer to each other than what the Jean Lo Immortal is. Like I said, this one is definitely, it's a lot more spicier. And I'll just go ahead and spray this Jean Lo Immortal on as well. Just kind of spray it right there. And just off the top, I mean, I never really thought that the Jean Lo Immortal was harsh really at all, but just smelling it in comparison to the Louis Vuitton and the Flavia, this Jean Lo Immortal is definitely, it's a lot more harsher than yeah, it's a lot more harsher than the Flavia and the Louis Vuitton, at least in the immediate opening. Now that this has kind of sat on my skin a few seconds, it has sort of smoothened out. And it does still have, you know, again, like I mentioned before in my, you know, previous comparison video, this still does have that sort of watery, kind of balmy feel to it. But it's not as much as what the Louis Vuitton has. This is, again, more of an emphasis on ginger. And already, I mean, the ginger is, in my opinion, what you mainly smell from this particular fragrance pretty much right from the start. You still get some of that bergamot and just a tad bit of grapefruit. But, you know, again, with this one, you're getting a lot more ginger, whereas this is a lot more balanced. You're getting, you know, that grapefruit, ginger, and bergamot mixed with those watery notes and herbal notes. And yeah, this just comes off as being a lot more smoother, the Flavia does. And I would say even in terms of like, you know, projection and strength, the Flavia seems to be pretty much, it seems to be behaving exactly the same as the Louis Vuitton. So the Flavia doesn't seem to have, you know, any more sort of projection or strength than what the Louis Vuitton has. And like I said, the only main difference that I get is that combination of like sort of like those watery notes and the herbal notes. Those do smell, I would say, maybe 2 to 3% better in the Louis Vuitton. But honestly, I don't think that you would be able to tell the difference between this and the Louis Vuitton in the air. I really don't. This is extremely close to the Louis Vuitton. If I were to give this a rating, I would say this is at least about 98% close to the Louis Vuitton, pretty much. Like, I'm not joking. This is super close to Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité. Almost identical. So the only place that I've seen this particular fragrance so far is Joma Shop. I believe I picked this one up for like $29.99 plus shipping, so it came out to be like $35. That's less than what I paid for the Jean Lo Immortal. Now, mind you, when I paid for the Jean Lo Immortal, this wasn't really available, you know, at a lot of different, you know, places that people normally get their fragrances from here in the United States. So I believe the only place really that I was able to find this at the time that I bought it and saw it was on eBay. And so I paid like around, I want to say probably $50 or so for this. Like I said, this is only at like $30 on Joma Shop. Now, it did take about 2 weeks for me to get this, and they do state on the Joma Shop website that this ships within at least about 1 to 2 weeks. So, you know, you'll have to be a little bit patient if you're going to purchase it from there. But I mean, again, overall, man, this is at least, like I said, about 98% close. Obviously, I'll be doing another video on this to kind of give, you know, my final thoughts and stuff like that. But I just at least wanted to get this sort of first impressions comparison, you know, out there to YouTube, so that, you know, anyone that's maybe looking for, you know, a comparison video of this fragrance to see whether or not it's legit or not, and you should purchase it, I would say, yeah, absolutely, definitely purchase this. If you're wanting that Louis Vuitton L'Immensité smell, but you're not necessarily in love with the way that this one smells due to the extra spice, and you don't necessarily have the money to, you know, spend on a $300 bottle of the Louis Vuitton. All right. So again, man, check this one out. I'll leave a link in the description for where you can pick this up at Joma Shop. Like I said, I think I paid about $30 for this one. It's absolutely worth it at that price. Absolutely. So check this one out, man. Again, that's L'Impression Parfum by Flavia. All right. So let me know, man. Do you all know about this particular fragrance? First of all, have you actually heard about it? And if not, man, definitely, like I said, go ahead and pick it up. And also, anyone who smelled this particular fragrance, have you also smelled the Louis Vuitton fragrance? And do you agree with how close this actually comes to the Louis Vuitton? All right. So go ahead, talk about it in the comments. Once again, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a like on this video. And that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.